Let's go. What the deal, what the business is. And that's not rhetorical. That's a real question, what the business is. And today the business is Miss Ro. But first we want to give some shout out to some original stores that was on Main Street and some people that was real supportive to us. So I want to say thank you to Chef Tony, Rosalind, Erica, Blush Couture, Nina, Noodles, Bob and Gracie, Barbara, Wanda, Annette and Julian, Feed Store, Cottage Park Shoe, Ace and Army, Club E, Top Notch Barbershop, Rod, The Historic, Here For You, Corey, The Corner Stores, all good people that helped us a lot, man. So we want to say thank you. But like I said, the business is today, Ms. Ro. How you doing, Ms. Ro?
I am fabulous. Excited to be on your show. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's our pleasure is all ours. And we don't want to do you no disservice, so please introduce yourself.
So my name is Roshan Dorsey, affectionately known as Miss Ro. I am the CEO of Miss Ro's Dance Closet, located right here at 3761 Main Street in College Park.
Fantastic, Miss Ro. And you know, for some reason, I kept thinking you were a dance studio and a dance apparel store. So can you speak to being a dance studio at first? Because you said you were into that at one point in time.
Yes, I originally started as a dance studio. And upon moving here to Georgia, I was in some major car accidents where I sustained a broken neck. And I was in another car accident after that, hit by an 18-wheeler, where I was hit by 18-wheeler and ruptured the disc on my back. And so doctors had told me I should never dance again, have any more children. And that's when I decided to open my dance studio. And all was going well, and the doctor said, you're eventually going to need more surgery. You're going to need more surgery. And eventually came. I needed more surgery. That last surgery left me feeling really bad. Okay. And that's when I had to close my school.
Oh, sorry.
Because of the injuries.
So that was kind of what led to you opening the more apparel side of it yourself?
Yes. I'm sorry.
No worries.
We're still running the store as we speak.
So I appreciate you taking some time and even being able to do that while you're conducting business and having to assist your employees. So that's part of the realness with Ramble. We're just giving back inspiration. So you having to be at work while we're doing this kind of lends to that. So I hope they understand that part of the program too as well. So you were saying your inspiration for starting this side of your business.
So when I closed my studio, which was called In Motion Dance, I went through this whole woe is me, what I'm going to do, my life is over, blah, blah, right?
Yeah.
And one day I was taking my daughter to a dance class. And I took her to class and she needed something to wear. She needed a leotard or something. And I walked into this dancewear store, and literally this is how Miss Ro's Dance Closet was conceptualized. I walked into that store and I said, I'm about to do this, period. Never done retail, didn't know anything about inventory, didn't know about getting credit card machine, didn't know anything about the retail business. But I walked in there, I said I'm going to do it, and that's what I did. And that's how Miss Ro's Dance Closet came about.
How long ago was that, Miss Ro?
We will be here 10 years in August.
Fantastic.
Yeah, 10 years.
And is this your first location? Oh, well, this is your first location. Were you online before this, or are you looking into?
Well, this is my first retail store. Okay. Yes, I had the dance studio before, but this is my first time ever doing retail.
Okay.
Period. Mm-hmm.
And how's that going so far? What are the kind of the learning curve with doing that? And
it's been a lot. It's a huge. I've learned so much. When I first started, I didn't know how many size 2 shoes I needed, size 4 shoes I needed, how many ballet shoes I needed, how many jazz shoes, what color leotard. I didn't know any of that stuff. Okay. I just bought so much stuff blindly that some of it is probably still sitting here right now. So I'm going to have like a $2 sale or something because it's been sitting here forever.
Okay.
But I bought so much that wasn't needed because I didn't know what was needed.
Okay.
And then learning to connect with different schools and studios around here and understanding what their needs were.
Okay.
Then I could start to supply the things that the schools needed.
Okay.
Things like that. So but it's still a learning curve. I'm still learning.
So when you started, was that one of your ideas for networking and where you knew you were going to sell as opposed to just foot traffic? You knew you were going to reach out to schools and dance academies and say,
Yeah.
I have,
Yes.
such and such.
So part of my reason for being here is when I had my dance studio, we always had to go to places like Alpharetta or Marietta or Fayetteville. There was nothing for our little brown girls anywhere.
Okay.
So I made a point to be in this community just for us, for that reason, to be a representation for our girls.
Okay.
So when I was walking past this store, when I was scoping out the area, right, and back then there was like hardly anything here. Your business wasn't even here.
No, I think when I first came around, it was somewhat looking like a tumbleweed area still.
It was. There was nothing, not what it is today.
Yeah.
And I walked past the store and I saw the hardwood floors, and I was like, "This is the spot." Right here. And it took me a long time to get it because the landlord never called me back. I called him for like 3 months.
Okay.
Can I look at the spot? Can I look at the spot? And so one day I left him a message that's very concerned, like, I'm so concerned about you. I'm very worried about you because I haven't heard from you. So do I need to find a way to reach out to your family? Are you okay? Are you sick? So, very concerned. And he called me the next day.
Yeah.
He said, I am fine. There's nothing wrong with me. And then that's how that happened. And he finally let me see the space.
So your advice would be diligent if you see the space that you want.
And find a different way to not always like, are you going to call me? I was like, are you sick?
But you eventually got in contact. You came and looked at the space, and then you signed the lease, took possession of the store. And then what was your next step? What did you do after you had the keys to your new store?
Luckily, this space was turnkey.
Okay.
The only thing I had to really fix was the back office, but I could like open the store like instantly.
Okay.
Because whoever had it before, they did a beautiful job in here. Like it's hardwood floors. We have speakers in the ceilings. What is it called when you can turn the lights up and down? Dimmers. Yeah. Chandelier, like flower looking lights and stuff. It was just walked into niceness. I didn't have to paint it.
Right. So your next step was stocking your store with inventory. You said you were kind of leery at that because this was your first store. Right. So how did you find your vendors to buy these? Initially, did you just have shoes, or did you have shoes, leotard, and the whole?
I had to. So for all entrepreneurs out there, it comes with research.
Okay.
You have to do your research. So I didn't walk into here not knowing anything. I knew by the time I walked in here what I needed to do. So when I decided this is what I'm doing, then I started researching, how do I do this? What do I need to do? Who do I need to talk to?
Okay.
Things like that. Now, how I found the vendors, I honestly don't remember. But I must have just reached out to them and was like, I'm about to open a store. What I need to do? And they're like, you need to do this, this, and this. So I started with just a couple of vendors because it's so expensive. You have to buy so much stuff at one time to get one of these big name vendors. So for instance, 10 years ago, to get Capezio, I think, you had to buy at least $10,000 worth of stuff.
Wow.
To get there.
And what do they specifically sell? Everything?
They sell everything.
Okay.
Everything.
But you have to spend a minimum of $10,000 for them to even be one of your vendors.
So I can carry their stuff in my store.
Okay. So
and it's like that kind of with all of them. And we have a lot of them in here.
So, and that's what my next question was going to be. Are you still with them, or have you started sourcing other vendors?
We've added. I started with Eurotard, so I have a lot of vendors. So we still have Capezio. That's their boxes there, the red.
Okay. So speak about your vendor relationships. How does that go in terms of if you have, well, you did say you had some things that might still be here, but if you find that you bought some things and it's not really selling because of whatever particular reason, are you able to exchange or anything like that?
Some of them have those kind of deals with you because they want you to try stuff. So if you buy something, you try it, and it's not selling, they will take it back. But if you buy it again and it doesn't sell, they're not going to take it back. And like, you knew it didn't work the first time.
So that's kind of stipulated, or
yeah.
you use it as just unwritten?
You get to try it one time. If you don't like it, we'll take it all back. But if you try it the second time, it's yours.
Okay. And
that's fair and honest.
Yeah.
I try to carry a lot of black vendors as well. So I try to carry stuff that caters to us. As far as leotards and tights and shoes that match our skin tones, because that's been a huge issue in the dance world. And so I try to make sure that I support as long as it makes financial sense to me. Like, everything doesn't make financial sense, therefore I can't support everything. But if it makes financial sense to me, then I will carry your products in my store.
Yeah, that's one of the things I talk when I talk with a lot of entrepreneurs is don't limit yourself. You're opening a business to make money, so you don't want to say I don't do this because of this, that, and the third. Mm-hmm. But like you said, if it makes good business sense, you adhere to it because you want to help and support.
Right.
So just don't limit yourself that way.
Right. If you look in my store, like I have a lot of artwork up also, the people that draw and paint. So I give people a chance to sell their products here.
Okay.
As long as it's relatable to my store and what I do, then I've got some books that people write and things like that. Yeah.
So that networking as well.
Yes, absolutely.
That's fantastic that you do that, Miss Rowe. Have you noticed any kind of style that's changed over time where you slowly phase out, or do you have some tried and trues?
Well, what I will tell you that is happening in the dance world that's major, and we're talking about skin tones and stuff. So I will be 59 tomorrow.
Happy early.
And for at least 50 of my years, we have wanted tights that match our skin tone, shoes that match our skin tone. We have never had them because they don't make them for us.
Okay.
So we've always had to do things like spray paint our stuff.
Did you ask the vendors?
Do we ask them?
Did you ask the vendors as to?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do we ask them? So again, for 50 years, we've been asking for this kind of stuff. Now, mostly since George Floyd, the whole George Floyd thing and the revolution and all of that stuff. For the last couple of years, they've been coming out with skin tone stuff, our skin tone. But point shoes, how you see the ballerinas on their toes or whatever?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
They've never made those for us. Like, they're always pink. And the whole point of dance when you're on stage is you want your legs and feet to look like one long line. It's not supposed to be a break. It's supposed to look like one thing. Okay. But if we're wearing pink shoes and we have brown legs, that can't very well look like a line. Right.
So does that affect performance, you think, or is that subconscious, or how do you feel that affects the overall?
It doesn't affect performance because we're diligent and we do what we have to do. So that doesn't affect performance. It affects what you have to do prior to performance. Our girls have to spray paint their shoes or pancake them with their makeup. You have so much more that you need to do to them to have them ready for the stage.
Okay.
So I went to a conference once and I was the only black person in this conference. And the question was, they held up a point shoe and their question was, how can we make this more, how can we make it work better for you guys as dancers? What can we do to fix this shoe and make it a good shoe?
Where was this conference, and was the first that you've heard of this conference? No. So let me just say this. I am probably one of 5 black-owned dancewear boutiques in the United States. Okay.
So there's no representation really for us, except for me. So when I go to these things, I make noise. Do you know what I mean? So the question was, how can we make these shoes work? So they wanted something like, oh, you could fix the point, or you could fix the wings, or you could do something like this. I said, my hand was the first one up. I said, you could give them to us in our skin tone. And you could hear in the room, everybody was just like, oh, here we go with this. And he was like, well, that's not what I mean. I mean, how can we make them better for you to dance in? And I said, when you guys take your shoes home, they're ready to dance in. And you look beautiful. When we take our shoes home, We have to take them home and spray paint them, spray the ribbons. We got to let them dry, then spray them again and go through all of that before we can put them on to be functional. So now that brand carries Ramble Ballet Shoes.
Okay.
Point shoes.
What brand would that be?
Just one of them.
Did you want to highlight them for, at listening and making any kind of changes?
I think that they're all making changes because they're all capitalizing right now.
Okay.
So the way I feel about it is we need this change, but are all these different manufacturers, like all of these manufacturers are doing them. All these people that are carrying now are carrying brown point shoes. But they just started carrying them in like the last 2 years. How did I say I was? 50 years.
Okay.
They just started carrying them in like the last 2 years. So yes, I believe it's capitalism. However, it's something that we need very much. So we're grateful. We got to be grateful for it as well.
Yeah, because the change could not have been made, and then 5 more years you'd be at that conference again.
Saying the same thing.
So someone listen, and be it, like you said, capitalizing or what have you, but, change was made, which is fantastic. So now you have less prep time for that, more focus time.
Right.
Which is kind of what the point was, correct?
That was the point.
Okay.
To make stuff in our skin tone. Leotards, tights, the whole shebang.
So that you can get right to the dancing and
it's a matter of respect. It's a matter of respect. You see all these black dancers out here. Why are you not making stuff for us?
Correct. So
I'm passionate about that.
You know what? This is your business, and part of being an entrepreneur is that you're passionate.
Yeah.
So if someone was here just being a capitalist in this store, they wouldn't have voiced the opinion that you did at the conference. So you're passionate about it, and you wanted to make sure that these things were ready to go to perform. Correct. Because that's what you were trying to do in the first place. So I was going to ask you to speak to any kind of the challenges that you had, but I'm assuming, but that was one.
That was a major one.
Is there any other challenges that you had in terms of entering into dancing or the apparel?
No,
sourcing
honestly,
wasn't a big issue other than the amount that you had to purchase.
Learning how to purchase. No, the biggest thing in the dance world really has been being respected in the dance world for our skin tone. Okay. And that's been a major, major thing. And so now it's happening. What's crazy now is that the parents that come into the store, like right now, like today, if somebody comes in today, they don't understand how far we've come. They think it's always been. Does that make sense? Yes. They think these colors have always been here, and they'll say things like, "Oh, you need more colors because you don't have the right colors." And I'm like,
"You know how hard it's been to get a color, much less."
If you are not happy for this color right
here, that's the next level over there, Miss Rowe. Is that you're gonna get color at some point in time you can.
But there's so many shades of us, and then people want perfection now after that. And I'm like, y'all only knew how long it took. So let me ask you,
how hard would it be to get into starting a Miss Rowe line of zapatos or shoes? Have you?
It's possible. No, I haven't.
Okay. Well, that's going to be on your bucket list, Miss Rowe.
Is it on my bucket list now?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Because there's a store called Blends.
Okay.
And she makes brown girl shoes, tights, and she's based right here in Atlanta. So I'm proud of her. I carry some of her stuff. Like I said, when it makes financial sense, I'll put it all in the store.
Okay.
But she's doing.
And her price point is competitive as well for it to make sense for you?
It's no, not yet.
Okay. And
not
you
for me to do.
That
yeah, we've had conversations, and I do have some of her stuff in here. So I am trying to be as supportive as I can. But she's a new business, so she has to price her stuff the way she needs to price it. Okay. She's probably not able to price wholesale to retail yet.
Okay.
Yeah, and so that makes a difference. These bigger companies can give me different deals.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And that makes sense. And then, so what advice would you give to someone who's deciding to start in this? Because you said you bought a lot of shoes that probably still here. So would you have kind of What kind of other research would you have done?
I don't know. I still don't know what I would tell them different to do, because the advice I got from my salesperson, which wasn't bad, she said, these are the shoes. She showed me what I was going to need. She said, maybe get 2 of these, 2 of these, 2 of these. It's gonna be your area, and maybe they could start off by getting dress codes from the schools first. That might be a good suggestion.
Okay, so that's something you had to figure out and do in your field research to find out. Each school had a different dress code. Obviously, it wasn't
everybody
this area.
Had something different. Yeah.
And how did that affect on what did you have to do?
Well, I didn't realize all of that at the time.
Okay.
So once I started getting dress codes, then I could start carrying specifically what certain schools needed. I don't always have what everybody needs, but I started to learn more of what's wanted and what's needed. So if somebody was gonna start doing this, I might go get some dress codes first and then start ordering that way.
Okay, okay. Before you actually find a landlord and keep calling and checking.
No. You could,
or because at that point,
before you start buying from your vendors.
Okay.
Yeah. Before you buy from your vendors, go figure out what the schools need first.
Which is basically where your location is. You're gonna cater to the schools that are nearest to you. So it just behooves you to go find out, what do they need.
Yeah.
Unless you already had an idea in mind.
Well, I thought I knew because I had a dance studio, so I thought I knew, but I didn't.
Okay, good information.
Yeah.
That's good information. And I was going. So what kind of changes have you noticed in? Is it an incremental change in terms of the type of style that kids want, or was it more so the school dictated?
The schools kind of dictate what the kids wear.
Okay.
Yeah, most schools have a uniform.
Okay.
And so I would just buy what the schools are telling me to get.
Okay.
Now, then the kids want fashion. So I'm learning now to carry more fashion and not so much basics, because that's where my struggle is with online stores. They can get all that fashion at a really low rate. But people want fashion, so I'm starting to carry. So there's basic dancewear, like what you wear to class. Then there's the fashion, the cute stuff.
Okay.
So maybe in the last 2 years I've started carrying more fashion.
And what about events and things like that? And dance recitals or pageants and things like that. How does that go?
That is a great way to network. It's a great way to get some more income. So I do go to recitals and set up tables and stuff and sell at events like that. It's a lot of work. I would like to be able to go to some of the bigger events like conventions and things like that.
Go ahead, but my question was going to be what's preventing you, but continue.
I think part of prevention might be my mindset, saying that I can't do
answer. Go ahead.
But I know it's a high ticket price too.
To do what?
To set up a table in one of those big conventions.
Renting the space? Renting the space to put your table. Okay, it's just like if you were a food vendor, you would pay for your vending space.
Yes.
So that vending fee's kind of high, and then
high.
How much you sell is going to be kind of what deterring you from spending that to get that booth.
Right, exactly. Do I think I'm going to make my money back? Or do I have the money to even go? And then it is a lot of work, in not so much being there, a lot of packing up, taking it, unpacking it, packing it back up, bringing it back, stuff like that. So do I have the help to do all of that as well? But again, I honestly think that my mindset might be the thing that's stopping me from doing that more than anything else.
It's good that you're able to recognize that. What do you think, now that you've said that verbally, and you might have said it in the mirror a couple of times or whatever.
I've said it a few times.
So what's going to make Ms. Rowe make that step?
I don't know. I think I need to really want it maybe a little more. You know what I mean? I think I need to really want it. Are you
content right now? Is that what that is?
I think I'm okay with not doing it. I think I'm going to write it down on my near future plans. So we're about to expand and do all that. So that's the only thing that's really in my head.
Okay, we're gonna get into that.
Yeah.
Don't let me. Well, we're not gonna forget that.
But
I wanted to
I would like to. I definitely want to do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And okay, follow up to that then. If that's for networking, is the cost not? Is it too much for you to say, okay, I'm just going there for the networking? I may not make.
No, that's
too much
not for
sale.
networking.
Oh, that's not for networking.
Not if I
that's
do one of
more
those
for
conventions.
sales.
Yeah, that's for
more for that day sales.
Yeah. I
Okay.
need to make some money that day. That's about money, period.
Okay, that's that part of the business there. That's that day sale. How did COVID affect your store, Ms. Rowe?
I honestly have to give the glory to God because we are still here after COVID. The only major thing that happened is we were talking about point shoes, and point shoes are like the big money ticket for dancewear. They're like the Michael Jordans for dancers, okay?
So I wanted you to elaborate too, because I heard you had said jazz shoes and all the. I had no idea. That's why I do love when I interview different
shoes.
Yeah, so if you can elaborate on some of the different ones, but
okay.
I continue with your point in terms of you were saying what COVID did in terms of that.
So when I came back, either there was the air condition was on or something was leaking and ruined all of my point shoes. Like when I came back, there was just mold and stuff. That's a major investment. So that kind of broke my heart. However, I put that out on social media, what had happened. And one of my vendors, I will say their name, Sancha, saw it. And they sent me like boxes of point shoes.
Fantastic.
For free.
Good stuff.
And I was like, oh my God. They sent me point shoes. They sent me, so there's ballet shoes that the little girls wear when they go to class. There's ballet shoes. And once you've been dancing for some years, and you have to be at least 10 or 11 right in there before you can even put those point shoes on your feet.
Okay. It's ankle stability or something
yes,
like that? Yes,
ankle stability. You have to have been dancing consistently for at least 3 years, I know.
Okay.
It's a commitment. And those shoes are about $100 a pop. And if you're doing it on a regular basis, you probably have to change those shoes every 3 to 6 months.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Did not know.
So that's a commitment.
So they get a lot of wear and tear.
A lot. So they change those a lot. The other shoes are jazz shoes for jazz dance. Tap shoes. And there's so many variations of tap shoes. So tap shoes can start at little tiny feet at like $25 and go up to like the professional level for like $200.
Wow.
For a pair of shoes.
And those are wearing out at the same rate?
No. The little kids grow out of theirs first.
Okay.
The professional ones, they don't grow out of theirs. Theirs last a long, long time.
Tap and point?
Point does not last anybody.
Okay.
No. The professionals change theirs often. They probably have 2 or 3 pair at the same time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And none of the costs have risen on you in terms of that?
Oh my God, everything has gone up.
Okay.
Yes. Inflation is killing us, and the supply chain is really bad. Like today is really bad because I don't have any small tights like for little kids.
Okay.
Like none. And I've ordered them, and I just got a package today, and I said, well, I ordered all these small tights. They're all back ordered because they're still sitting out there on the ships or whatever, and so we have the same issues in here. There's been no supplies.
So how often are tights? Is the tights
I order tights every week.
Every week?
Every week. A lot of them. Every week.
Are
and
they
I've
tearing
run out.
Well,
they tear. You get little kids. All the little kid has to do is see a snag, and then they just gonna wrap their finger around it the whole time until you got a big hole.
Okay, so.
But yeah,
So
that's something I sell on a regular, nonstop, every single day.
Okay, so what else what are your tried and true that you have to have for someone to have in mind when they're getting their store ready? What are some tried and true that you need to keep on hand because they're going to sell regardless?
They're going to sell regardless. It's the tights in all of the skin tones.
Okay.
Black leotards and ballet shoes, tap shoes, jazz shoes.
And
all of that.
Okay.
We need all of that because if you think about it, when you take these little kids to sign them up for class, you get there and you're all excited and you're like, I'm gonna put her in this, I'm gonna put her in this, I'm gonna put her in this. And so you come to the store and you need all of that stuff. So those are your basics.
Okay.
Leotards, tights, and ballet shoes are your basics. Jazz shoes and tap shoes might be that extra class.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So how often are you doing any kind of recitals or things? How do those type of things go?
Well, like right now it's recital season.
Okay.
So all of the schools are having their recitals. So for the last 3 weeks, she's not gonna get that.
Okay.
Please leave a message after the tone.
No.
Can't not get calls either. That's not okay.
You know, that's why I was gonna say you could interrupt and take that call, Miss Rowe. We would have just paused for you because you're at work and we're interrupting entrepreneur life. You don't want to do any of those. Did you have any issues with the rent in terms of any kind of things like that affect or those effects?
My rent has not been changed in 10 years.
Fantastic.
He just leaves us alone.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, just don't call me for anything. He don't want to fix anything now. So I don't fuss too much because he don't bother us.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Unless it's something that just really, I'm like, I can't do that. But for the most part, he don't bother us. We try not to bother him.
Fantastic. And did we speak to any kind of style changes? You said that kids are. How are you keeping up with the trends and knowing what to shop for? Do you have someone that's letting you know these things?
I have all dancers that work here, so
they'll give
they
you
let me know
feedback
what's up.
on.
My daughter lets me know what's up.
Okay.
You know, and I think I'm pretty good at staying in touch.
I'm not discounting that, Miss Rowe. I'm not discounting that. So let's speak to your business expansion, Miss Rowe.
Yeah, so we're going to be expanding Miss Rowe's Dance Closet to next door. So we're going to make this store a little bigger.
Okay.
And then we're also going to create a rehearsal space. I don't want to call it an event space because it's not really that. But you could have an event here. But it's not an event space. I'm not going to have your tables. I'm not going to have your chairs. I'm not going to do all that. But it will be a rehearsal space for anyone.
Can I tell you what I'm envisioning?
What'd you see?
Is that movie thing with the glass wall and that bar with the arm, like going down the banister, that arm, and the girls are there.
I do not.
No.
I don't even see what you're seeing.
It's
don't have your
a
vision.
wall with a whole lot with a mirror.
We're gonna have mirrors.
It's gonna have a mirror wall, or just one mirror.
No, the whole wall.
And then it's gonna have that arm wall, that little bar going.
Yeah, we're gonna have all of that.
All right, go ahead. As you were, go ahead.
It's gonna be a dance studio.
All right.
But I'm calling it rehearsal space so dancers can come and rent the space out for something they need.
Okay.
So I don't plan on doing like little kids come in at 10 o'clock and take class and 3 o'clock. I'm not doing that.
Okay. So what was the vision for that, or inspiration for that? The space was available, it was always in your mind? Or?
Always. From the time I moved here.
Okay. So,
was like, I want that space next door.
And you were patiently waiting, and it's now available?
Patiently waiting, now it's available. He passed away.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Okay.
Patiently waiting, and now it's available. And so I'm excited about it. I'm going to try to create some huge crowdfunding because I'm going to need some help financially with that. So,
so what's your preparation for that in terms of renovation? What do you have to do to it?
I had to do a lot to it because that was garbage over there.
Okay.
Like, I don't know what was happening in there. There's not a toilet in there.
There may not have been a need for it, but now there is.
May not have been a need for a toilet.
Yes, there's some stores. We're just here to sell what have you.
No, there's no heating, no air, there's no floor.
You're gonna need a floor.
There was nothing.
Especially for what you're planning to do. Yeah. You're gonna need a floor, Miss Rowe. So,
I'm like, what did you do? It really was.
Okay.
So it's going to be a huge build out. Plus the builder that I have, he's a really good designer. So his ideas are just amazing to where it's going to be just beautiful. And
so you sat down and done that prep work? Okay.
Yeah, I've already got him.
Okay.
I think if we do what he says, it's going to be a process, but it's going to be beautiful. Both sides are going to be beautiful and very inviting.
And you say you're going to have the entrance in the front and you're going to extend the...
No, I'm going to make a walkway through for us in the back.
Okay, so you're not going to have a front entrance there.
It's still going to be 2 separate entrances.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So when do you foresee that actually
My
taking place?
goal is November.
Okay.
Yeah. So I hope the build out will start in July.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's going to be more are you going to
So I'm moving this store over to that side.
Okay, and this is going to make this.
This is going to be the event space. It's still going to be some store or some storage once we readjust it. I think I'm going to make this kind of like a podcast spot area, green room, because you can see in there that.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's the plan.
Okay. So anything else you want to speak on, Miss Rose, before?
Did I tell you we have a nonprofit organization?
Okay.
So Miss Rose Dance Closet has a nonprofit organization. It's called Permission to Fly.
Okay.
Fly means to fully love yourself. And we're geared to women and girls with rare, visible medical conditions. So I have something called Bell's palsy. So I'm paralyzed on this side of my face over, right? And a young lady that I taught in my studio, she had something called Erb's palsy.
Okay.
Which causes your arm to just not lift up very high. And she was like a great dancer regardless. And so one day she was like, let's start this organization, me and you. Because to me, she was my child. Like I raised her and I loved her and everything, just like she belonged to me. Like I gave birth to her.
Okay.
And so I was like, okay, we could do that. You know, with this Bell's palsy, it took my smile away. And then when you're a dancer and you can't smile and do things like that, it made me very self-conscious. Like I didn't want cameras in front of my face. I don't want pictures, don't take nothing, none of that stuff. I just didn't want it.
Okay.
So I said, well, you could be in front of the stage, I'll be in the back, you know, doing all the work. But you're young, beautiful, you stay out there. Excuse me. And so we were getting ready to start this, and then sadly she was killed in a car accident. So then I had to become the face of Permission to Fly as well.
Okay.
And so I had to become that example of the advice I give to all these kids that come into the store where I'm like, you can do this and you're beautiful and you can dance and you can do all of this stuff. Now I had to do that. I had to be the example of what I'm saying to you. So why is she not answering the phone? Okay. And so that's how Permission to Fly kind of got started. We're a 501c3.
Okay.
You can find us at permissiontofly.org if you want to give donations.
Okay.
I am also currently on the Cultural Arts Council for the City of College Park.
Okay. And
I am on the City of South Fulton's Arts Commission. I do that too. I'm a member of the National Coalition of 100 Black Women, Mecca chapter.
Okay.
That's it.
And how can they find your store, Ms. Rowe?
You can find us at 3761 Main Street in the heart of historic College Park. Our number is 404-565-0487. You can find us online at MissRoseDanceCloset.com, where I do have an online store. And all social media is Miss Rose Dance Closet.
Fantastic.
Yeah. And that's MSROS. There's no E.
Spell that again for me.
MSROSDANCECLOSET. Miss Rose Dance Closet.
And thank you so much for allowing me to ramble with you, Miss Rose. And let me tell you that I'm so happy that your store is still here and thriving and going strong. Because from when we were here, we see a lot of entrepreneurs come, and then a lot of them was, and then J-Mac too. I hope you're doing well, Jim. A lot of people came with their vision and their dream and wasn't able to kind of weather either the storm or whatever happened. And Kimmy too as well. Hope you guys are doing well. But you know, we're just trying to give easier path to the new entrepreneurs or someone trying to get into whatever line of business that our people that we feature. So we just hope a lot of people got some great information on opening their dance studio, dance closet, and learn how to shop and not over shop.
Call me if you need me.
There you go.
I am open for questions and inspiration and mentorship.
Fantastic, Michelle. Thank you so much.
It has been a pleasure. Thank you.
The pleasure's been all ours.